You're bad at Battlegrounds, and that's okay. We're going to be talking about this. This was something that came out last week. For those that don't know, I was in Norway. I went to visit some of the fjords, and it was, wow, absolutely amazing. You know, jaw-dropping scenery, perfection, snow-topped mountains, the most loveliest sun. Actually, we got some of the best weather that Norway sees at that time, and it was hot everywhere we went. We got so blessed when it came to the weather. Like, fantastic holiday as well. I came back with a slight tan, which is good because most of the year I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. So look, positives where positives are with it. Even in the background, I've got my case. It's right there. I haven't packed, but we are about to move, so I'm kind of figuring out what I can store where. So things in the background might change as removal people come and remove things as they do. But look, enough about my life. But look, we're back to recording videos, getting regular content out to you. This is something that I want to get back to doing. Get back into the routine of things. Got to work on the Marvel Rivals channel. That's got some interest from people, so we're going to try and grow that. Link is always in the description if anyone's interested with that. But I wanted to talk about you're bad at the Battlegrounds, and that's okay. So this one right here that was put out. It's kind of a weird. It's weird. I'll kind of put it that way. I don't get why this was done. So in some ways this can be seen as very insulting, and in some ways it can be seen as very tongue-in-cheek. In other ways it can be seen to some people, or Kabam is pointing out what they say to be is the obvious, and in other cases I don't know, it's kind of like an odd thing. An odd thing in the sense of why was this needed to be done? Let's find out. If you don't know about this, it's in game at the moment. If you go to your news section, it is there. In late 2022, we saw the contest change forever with the launch of Battlegrounds game mode. While maybe touch dramatic, as the contest constantly is changing forever, Battlegrounds created a massive yet nuanced shift in summoner experience. Many summoners remained completely oblivious to the change, though it felt its impact immediately, and boy, they allowed about it. Okay. You see, up to until launch of Battlegrounds, the very nature of the contest meant that with enough time, resources, energy, literally and figuratively, you could have found success in any area of the game, but into stubborn boss, keep trying, keep reviving, keep fighting. Basically, they're just kind of like creating a thing for what they're trying to talk about. Suddenly you could revive your way to victory, blah blah blah, butt kit suddenly. Summoners had been conditioned expecting to overcome every challenge put in front of them with enough time, and at the drop of the hat, now there was something standing in their way. Each for each other, Battlegrounds asks you to prove you're better than fellow summoner, or you won't get those juicy, delicious rewards. And guess what happened next? Summoners realized that many of their peers were substantially better than them. That's true. I think a lot of us can't deny that. And unfortunately, with most things, is when Kabam create a mode, it's either a case of you don't do the mode, or you do the mode, or Kabam puts stuff in the mode that then makes you go, I have to do this mode, I can't avoid it. But again, that's something we'll kind of touch upon a bit later on. It makes sense if you really break it down. There's a lot of us playing this game more than you think, and it would be incredibly unrealistic to expect to be better than all of them. There's plenty of psychological studies to support the notion that we vastly overestimate our own abilities. In pre-Battlegrounds world, we didn't really matter I think this is basically saying what we all know. People are better at the game than other people. Over the years since I first started playing the game, I definitely haven't played as well as I play a lot. I'd say worse than I did several years ago, but that's going to happen. Maybe that's due to game fatigue, where I can go into games like Marvel Rivals is a very new game, and I can front in more damage and more kills and be number one with using one particular hero. You know, it just happens. could be game fatigue. It could be a case that you go into any other game, you're better in that game. There's going to be things that people are better at than other people. So that's, you know, I think that's facts. Fast forward many seasons and we'll see the same complaints about matchmaking, uncooperative AI, and rewards that are just out of reach. Some might claim that we, the community and game team, are not understanding summoner needs. To that I will counter with summoners are misunderstanding the true competition. We understand why those complaints exist. 7+ years of conditioning led you to think you were great at the game, and you probably are, but you're better than the other summoners out there. Right, okay. This is where things get a little bit kind of weird with the rationale, and it's something that I just read. Again, it goes into like, I don't get why we had to have this particular post in the first place. But to the second point to go, Kabam was basically saying that you're bad at the game and there's nothing wrong with our game and you're not allowed to criticize it. You're not allowed to find issues and bugs with it and point it out. The same way that I point out to Kabam that the fake forfeit bug has still been in game. Kabam can't replicate it and it's still a thing within the game. So there's lots of things to it. I do agree that they're the same things. Hey, if things happen, you miss an input, you've missed an input. That's on you. And there's times where even I would say that, like, oh, I messed up, right? But then there's times where Kabam messes up. And when Kabam messes up, it's not exactly a put your hands up and say, oh, sorry guys, we didn't make the game consistent. No, it's a case of you've got to showcase all of the evidence, all of the receipts, all of the videotapes, all of the coverage to say, hey, for that moment in time that cost you and may cost you a little bit down the line, we won't be honouring any kind of compensation for that particular matter. Or no, that's not our bad, and maybe we won't even come to you to respond back when you do have those particular problems. It always takes two to tango, and at times I do not see that kind of like meet in the middle from Kabam on these particular aspects. Of course, things like Spring of Sorrow and some of the other kind of like, was it Eternity of Pain things? I don't know, in some ways Kabam are trying to like poke fun at the community or kind of going along with the meme side of things, or taking it in good spirits when, you know, it's all about these, you know, stages of grief, when we talk about anger, bargaining, you know, depression, acceptance. And I think it's just a case of, I'm personally, no, I do agree actually, I'm at this point of just acceptance, but it's at a different type of acceptance. It's accepting the fact that this game will be incredibly inconsistent, and when it gets it right, it gets it so fantastically right, but when it gets it wrong, it gets it catastrophically wrong. There's a good case in point to go to and look to other game developers and how games are developed when there's being kickback from the community about issues and problems, and when the developer has gone, hey, I'm not going to poke fun at you, I'm going to go and take it in on board and go, how do we kind of like act against this? Do we do good? Do we do bad? And this is something I've been carefully monitoring so far with, say, Marvel Rivals closed alpha, and also, you know, other games in the past. I'm not going to do a great can't speak properly case study into like, oh, if you look at this game in this instance, they did this. Like, I'll give you like, the perfect example. Marvel Future Revolution mobile game had great promise, was doing quite well. Unfortunately, it was very pay to win, and because of the fact that they didn't want to change from their particular model, the game failed because there wasn't as many people playing it at a certain point, and they went in really kind of like either weird directions, not good enough directions, and that particular way. You know, Marvel Rivals, a game that went into closed alpha recently, had a very big kind of, and it's not gameplay related, NDA issue for not criticizing the developer. Now they instead changed that with their NDA and apologized as a result for it. Not many developers would do that, but I think nowadays, like, some game developers are really wising up to that, and they're getting W's. You know, you could look at the Helldivers 2 situation recently. I'm just trying to think if there's any others. There's some decent recent case studies to that fact. But of course, you know, Kabam Jax and Kabam in general got a bit of flack because of these particular ways of, well, going, well, we're not really, we shouldn't be open to being criticised about things. Of course, the big takeaway from this is to say that, look, being bad at Battlegrounds is okay. And look, here's the thing. No, wait, I have better wisdom for you. Stop comparing yourself to others. It's the key to happiness, not just in the battle realm, but in our limited time in this mortal coil. There are so many people playing this game, and I know you strive to be the very best, like no one ever was. Pokemon references. Let's try to maintain realistic expectations and avoid setting ourselves up for inevitable disappointment. The only true competition you have is a previous version of you targeting improvement. Yeah, so there's that stuff right there. Okay, now for this particular situation, like last week, I think Jax decided to kind of like just go a bit kind of like chill, because I think it was on Twitter, he even said like, oh, is it safe to come out now? Also, I think the main point, as he said here, we've already done this dance here. This is satire. It's not meant to be serious. We're not going to get into it again. So you'll just have to use the boilerplate response. This is competitive game mode where you need to beat others to progress. I understand that you might want to be easier for you to progress, but when a choice between appeasing a vocal minority and staying true to intention behind the game design, we believe our game team is making the right choices in preserving the competitive nature of the mode. Unfortunately, when we talk about competitive nature of the mode, Kabam do fail in other areas. Ipso facto, what recently happened with the kind of forced close situation. So unfortunately, there's this level of credibility that Kabam can't bank because they've done it elsewhere. Of course, on the main there's lots of points to this. That I get what Kabam were trying to achieve with this post. Unfortunately, it just was a powder keg that was unneeded to be lit. Because what does the powder keg do when it's lit? That's right, it explodes. And definitely caused a lot of people to be kind of like questioning this. As I said, I get the reason that Kabam want to do this. I just don't really understand the reason for posting it. Especially with this, there are issues with the game. There's always compatibility issues. Matchmaking is still a questionable thing, even though people want to go, no, it's not. It's absolutely fine. Those that I think would be saying that matchmaking is fine are getting, good matchmaking to a certain degree. What that degree will be is always down to each player's interpretation. Do I want to take, and I've said this before, do I want to take rank 3 6 stars as counters when I can't rank them up against champions like a rank 3 7-star Bullseye? Maybe 200 signature, possibly. Or, 200 signature Bullseye that is rank 5 and ascended. Again, same situation. Or you're trying to find the right counter for it, and you either get that banned or you get banned. That's competition. But there are always imbalances to the system of the game between going up against somebody that's a free-to-play player or even someone that is a spending player within the game. Skill, yes, prevails, but it is not exactly setting up the best fairness on level of competition when matched. So the point of my kind of coverage and thing about this video is indeed what Kabam say: acceptance. Kabam say this is a competitive mode and I may have reached my competitive threshold, and that I do agree with, but at the same time that word acceptance needs to run both ways. Kabam need to accept that people will either, number one, see bugs, issues and problems with the game that will be about improving the competitive area, because the same thing, as I said, it runs both ways. They have to accept that they will receive criticism and also accept players' ideas for improvements in order to improve the competitive mode. Because at the end of the day, they just can't go, hey, here's a mode, like it or lump it, you're going to play it. Yeah, but it's got bugs and issues. No, it doesn't. That's not how it should be. It should be a two-way street. Acceptance. I have to accept. And I've gone for, it's not a case of like grief. I've just accepted the fact that I'm not a massive fan of this game mode, but at times I have to play it. I don't have a choice. Kabam aren't giving me a choice to go elsewhere to get certain things. I don't want to go and do the grind for the Deathless piece next season. I just don't want to do it. But I have to do it if I want to get that champion. Yeah, but you don't have to do it, Rich. Yeah, well, if I don't do it, I have to spend 5,000 units. So then I have to do arena. Yeah, but you don't have to get that piece. Well, I do, because if I don't do that and I don't get the champion, then I'm not able to create a strong synergized team with Thanos when I have to get him, because I'll probably have to do something for that. So you see what I mean? Like, you have to do this stuff. And that's, again, the same thing. Like, I have to accept that that's it. Maybe that is grief. Maybe I have to accept that. But then Kabam are creating that grief. So how is that fair in any kind of way? But anyway, back to the point of Battlegrounds. Yes, I think a lot of us accept it's a competitive mode, and you will feel at times that the pressure of the mode. I get nervous when I play Battlegrounds. I'm not a great Battlegrounds player, to be brutally honest with you. But at the same time, as I said, you have to do it. And as much as I accept that, it is a competitive mode and stuff like that, Kabam have to accept that players should be allowed to be critical, find points of improvement, point out bugs, and Kabam need to accept that these either need to improve or be fixed for a competitive mode, in the same way that, Kabam Jackson, any member of Kabam, can post something like this and go, hey, we're big, you're little, we're right, you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it. Matilda references, which I felt that this was kind of going that way. But I think a lot of us understood what Kabam were trying to say with this. It just was, and again, as I said, I don't get why they needed to post this. It was a weird thing. What are your thoughts on the matter? Put it in the comment section. Check out some other content located on screen. Yeah, see you later. Bye.